How you? Cool? Alright, let's get into this. Self-doubt is a form of oppression. Life's too short to be oppressed by the ego. The things we tell ourselves over and over and over again become our realities. So, if we tell ourselves negative things over and over and over again, that will become our reality. We don't need that. We don't have time to subscribe to think to the negative thoughts. We don't have time. That's going to derail us from living to our, I'm not going to say to our potential, but that's going to stop us from trying. Our ego's job is to cripple us. Our ego's job is to keep us comfortable. Our ego's job is to have us not try. Not trying is not cool. We are supposed to get out there and try. Self-doubt is a form of oppression. Stop doubting yourself. We got to keep going. We have to. Listen, I think about the car, and I think about this analogy I heard where you could either think about your life as driving a car, or think about ourselves or our body, us, as being a car. The self is in the car, the ego is in the car. It's the ego, resistance, self-doubt, all the same thing. And think about a backseat driver. When you're in the car and you hear a backseat driver, they're like, yo, make that left, make that right, speed up, speed down, do all these different things, right? And you're following them, and you might end up crashing. You might end up speeding. You know how annoying that backseat driver is. But it's better to understand, like, they're going to be there. They're going to try to tell you negative things. They're going to try to say things to make you crash out, scream, not pay attention to the road, not pay attention to where you're going. But you can ignore them. It's better that you ignore them, and it's better that you understand that they're there and they're not going anywhere. We don't have time to let that self-doubt, resistance drive the car. We cannot let the self go from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. Nah, because if we let the self go from the driver's seat to the passenger seat, if we let self-doubt oppress us, then we're gonna become depressed. We do not need to become depressed. We do not need to become stagnant or still. We need to stay in motion. Things we tell ourselves over and over again become our realities. So we have to be very careful what we choose to believe, what we choose to subscribe to. We don't have time to subscribe to those negative thoughts. Self-doubt is a form of oppression. There's a difference between critiquing yourself and there's a difference between doubting yourself. Understand that if things aren't happening, it just might not be your time yet. But you have to keep trying and keep working towards it. Do not let the ego win. The ego does not want us to do things. We have to be able to try. We have to be able to set out on a path. Our egos don't want us to set out on a path. Our egos want to keep telling us, like, yo, you could do that if you wanted to. Have you ever told yourself that? You ain't gotta do that. You could do that if you wanted to, or this, that, and the third. Now, when I'm talking about finances, that's different. Spending money that you don't have, that's different. I'm talking about going out there in the pursuit of your dreams, happiness, whatever the case may be. We have to, like I said, since thoughts become reality, if we're thinking negative things all the time, if you think that you hate your apartment and that's all you think about every day, then what happens when you come in your apartment? Every time you're gonna feel this like or this disdain towards it, which then changes your overall mood. I hate being here. I don't want to do this. And then that seeps into the rest of your life. And then once you hate something that bad, what happens? That keeps you still. We have to keep emotion. We got to keep emotion. We don't have time to subscribe to those things. We have to try. And this might be me being an optimist. We have to see the glass as half full instead of half empty. You know what I mean? Like, we have to, when we're out to create change, when we're out pursuing our dreams, when we're trying to turn these things that were ideas that we feel that these messages we receive that are ideas that we want to get out to the world, we don't have time to subscribe to those negative things, because those negative things are only going to hold us back. We got to keep going. Think about it. Think about the time that you have went out to do something and you just be like, you know what, I don't feel like it. I could have did that shit if I wanted to. Like, I think about, and that's why I like running in the gym, because it's like, you might get out there and you be like, you know what, I could lift 235 if I wanted to. And it's like you start to see the way your mind tries to play tricks on you. It's like, have you ever, and this is the people who, like, if you ever been in school, have you ever had something, or work, have you ever had something to do and noticed that all of a sudden you had all the energy in the world? The second that it's time to do that thing, you get tired. You see what we're up against? Has that ever happened to you? That happens to me. It's like, yo, the second that I need to do, I might get super hungry. I might get super tired. And then the second I'm like, you know what, I don't want to do no more. Now I got all the energy. It's just like, there are times when I'm running and it's like, damn, I feel like I use the bathroom. I feel like my leg's cramping. I feel like I can't go on. And as soon as I stop, why does everything feel fine? That's because the ego in our minds, even though they're our greatest allies, our greatest adversary. Our ego wants to stop us from trying. Our ego wants to derail us, and we cannot let it derail us. Self-doubt is a form of oppression, and we cannot let our egos oppress us, because if we become oppressed, then we become depressed, and we don't need to be oppressed or depressed. We got to stay in motion. We got to see it through. We got to create. Because once you start to believe and you start listening to that backseat driver, you're no longer in control. And understand, everything isn't in our control, but you're no longer in control of the things that you can control if you're listening to that backseat driver that's there to derail you, then to make you crash. And then when you crash, what happens? You crash out, which is not healthy. So do difficult things. This is why I like taking cold showers, journaling, running, working out, hitting the gym. It's like, in those difficult things, we learn through destruction, there's reconstruction. Through breaking things down, we become stronger. The heart is meant to break. What you're going through is not going to last. You will get through it. These are words that I'm not going to hold you. It's not just for you, it's for me as well. When I say these things, it's not just for you, it's also me saying them to me. Because I know I get in those modes where I doubt myself. But doubting myself and doubting ourselves is not going to help us get to where we got to go. It's going to lead us to depression. Self-doubt is a form of oppression. We don't need to be oppressed. Do not let the insecurities win. We have to start looking at the positives, and we have to keep going. I like to think about it like this. Google one time set out to make a social media, right? They went out to make a social media. It wasn't keeping up with the rest of the other social medias. It wasn't keeping up with MySpace. It wasn't keeping up with Facebook. It wasn't keeping up with Twitter. It wasn't keeping up with Instagram. But they in that social media that they created a great algorithm that was able to then pinpoint photos and different things like that, right? Then they were like, yo, they could easily just killed the project and it'd be over. But and they killed the project, but they were able to establish another great app. They're like, you know what, let's transition and make this the Photos app. And that social media then became Google Photos. But that you only get to Google Photos if you try. And if you don't doubt yourself. And when you are critiquing yourself, you start realizing like, yo, this is what I'm really good at. This is what I'm really good at. This is what I'm really good at. Like, I look at myself. It's like, am I really good at shoe reviews? Or am I really good at entertainment? Am I really good at delivering messages? We are all aligned in the universe. Self-doubt is a form of oppression. Let's stop being depressed by ourselves. Let's stop depressing ourselves. Raise the mug in the air. Let's drink some tea together. You know, let me know how y'all feeling. It's your choice as always. You're free to let me know how you feel. Leave it in the comments. Share this video if you feel like somebody needs to hear it. But stop doubting yourself. Way too often we doubt ourselves and we let the ego win, and then from there we aren't able to deliver that beautiful message that's intended to the world. Imagine if Steve Jobs or Deepak Chopra or any of the great Colson Whitehead, Murakami, James Baldwin. Imagine if these people doubted themselves to the point where they weren't able to execute those ideas that were in their heads, and how different they have made our lives. We don't have time for that. We got to get those ideas out. We got to get those messages out into the universe, and we got to give back. We have to. So let's go, y'all. You got this. You gonna make it through this, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you.